Most exciting time of the year, it's Economist Christmas. I'm very excited for the budget. It's the one time of year we find out what the government's true priorities are. What are they going to spend on? And more importantly, what are they not going to spend on? I'm Matt Grudnoff.
And I'm Eliza Littleton. And we're Economists.
How do current policy settings in the budget favour men over women?
Well, most of the benefits from tax concessions and tax cuts, which we know the government loves to announce around budget time, go to men. And this improves men's economic position compared to women, and this exacerbates existing gender inequality.
So why do men get most of the tax cuts and tax concessions?
For two main reasons. Firstly, because men earn more than women on average, and this is because they're more likely to have full-time jobs and be in higher income industries. But it's also because women do the disproportionate amount of unpaid childcare, which means that they usually drop out of the workforce during some of their prime income years to raise children.
Okay, so the tax cuts then are mainly aimed at high income earners. Is that what you're saying? And the tax concessions as well?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so we have tax cuts. So for example, tax cuts that haven't happened yet is stage 3 of the government's income tax plan that will come in a couple of years' time, in 2024. We did some research that showed that those tax cuts, 2/3 of them will go to men and only 1/3 of them will go to women. And this is primarily because people earning $200,000 a year will get about $9,000 a year in tax cuts, whereas people at the bottom end will get basically no tax cut at all. So the tax cuts mainly go to high income earners.
Absolutely.
And we also looked at tax concessions. So these tax concessions also disproportionately went to high income earners. And the tax concessions we're talking about are superannuation tax concessions, negative gearing, capital gains tax discount, and excess franking credits. And they're worth $61 billion a year, so a sizable chunk of money. And we found that on average, 70% of those tax concessions go to men, while only 30% go to women. So if we're handing out large tax cuts to men, if we're handing out large tax concessions to men, that means that the gap between men and women's after-tax income is only getting larger.
So these tax cuts will make the budget deficit bigger, and we know that the government hates budget deficits. So what they'll do is cut spending, and this has disproportionate consequences for women and not for men.
Yeah, we did research previously that showed that women, 55% of government services go to women and only 45% to men. So if we were to cut services, we're more likely to be impacting women than men.
Yeah, so the tax cuts and tax concessions benefit men, and the cuts to spending negatively hurt women. And this is why the budget is sexist. If you've got a question, we'd love to hear from you. Put it in an email and send it to mail@australiainstitute.org.au and use the subject line Ask an Economist.